And today I know we had a press release about whooping cough or pertussis case increases here locally that we've been seeing over the last several months. So I don't know if anybody has any questions offhand.
I think my first question is, what's the group that's being the biggest hit? Is it young people, old people? Like, where are you really seeing the spikes?
So we happen to be seeing a lot of cases in school-age children, which is interesting because they're all required to be vaccinated for school. But what we know about the whooping cough vaccine or pertussis vaccine is that the immunity tends to decline over time. So there's certainly a risk for them developing pertussis even after being fully vaccinated. So,
are you seeing people who are vaccinated and then just weeks or months after that expired, they're getting it right then and there? Are people just forgetting? Because you're supposed to have every year you're supposed to turn in your certificate.
Yeah, every year you're supposed to turn in your certificate. So most children are receive 5 of the pertussis vaccines in young childhood. What we often see is that immunity, as it starts to go down, wanes, and then that teenage, they're required to get another vaccine called Tdap, and that's like in the early teenage between 10 and 13 years old, and that kind of helps get them caught back up. But that middle range, as that immunity is waning before that vaccine, that Tdap vaccine is received, is often a common time for people to, or for kids to get pertussis.
What age would you say that is?
Like 8, 9, 10. And I won't say not all of the cases that we've seen have been in that age group, but certainly that is probably the highest risk group from an immunity standpoint.
When was the last spike last year? When was that?
So the last year that we really saw a big spike was in 2012, and that was actually, we had declared an outbreak. I believe that was a statewide outbreak at the time, but certainly locally in Jefferson County, the numbers were quite high back in 2012. So,
what's causing this spike right now?
So there's some theories behind that. I think for us locally, if you think in 2012 we had this spike, people went out, they got vaccinated, and now that vaccine, if it lasts 3 or 4 years, starting to wane for the people who were vaccinated. So this is kind of like the sweet spot where we would expect to see that the disease numbers going back up again. So from a disease perspective, it's not a surprise that this would be the timing where it would happen.
How contagious is this spike right now?
That's a great question. I don't know that I have exact contagiousness for pertussis. I think it's a very contagious disease for kids, especially because, when they're coughing, they're not always using proper cough etiquette. They're often in school settings, close to each other, sitting right next to each other. And if they're not covering their cough, it's very easily transmitted from child to child. So,
what's it sound like? I mean, it's called whooping cough, but does it really sound like that, or how do you know? Like, what are the symptoms that you might see in your
yeah, so I think one thing is a prolonged cough. So usually with a cold, you might get a little cough. That cough might linger for a while, but usually it's getting better with time. For pertussis, often it gets worse and worse, and so you're wondering why, 3, 4, 5 weeks down the road, your kid is still coughing. That's usually a red flag sign. And in fact, we tell people that if they or their child are still having a cough after a couple weeks, they probably should get that checked out at the doctor's office. I think the other thing is it can be a very severe cough. As I mentioned, it often lasts longer, but it can also be much more intense than a typical cold cough, for example. So it might cause a child to cough and cough and cough until they get sick to their stomach because they're coughing so hard. And then in littler kids, they tend to cough, 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 and then they'll take in a deep breath when they're able to breathe, and that kind of causes that whooping sound that is that classic characteristic of pertussis. So,
any other recommendations for parents who might be, worried about their kids at schools and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I think definitely if your child is not fully vaccinated, you need to check with your pediatrician or family healthcare provider and make sure that they've received all of their vaccines. That's the most important thing. young children, especially infants, are at highest risk of severe problems with pertussis. So it's really important that for parents, children in the home, grandparents even, if there are new infants or young children in the home, that those individuals need to make sure that they've gotten their adolescent or adult vaccines as well, because by them getting vaccinated, they can protect children as well.
How can adults stay safe from the cough?
So there is that Tdap vaccine that I mentioned. We traditionally think of it as an adolescent vaccine, but me, for example, a lot of us may not have gotten that vaccine when we were in our teenage years. And there are some career fields like the healthcare world where you're required to get that vaccine, but not every adult is required to. It is highly recommended that any adult get a Tdap vaccine at least once in their life, particularly if they did not get one during adolescence. And again, if they have any small children in the home, it would be highly recommended.
So the flu shot's not going to help the whooping cough?
No, the flu shot will not help the whooping cough. However, if you go to get your Tdap vaccine, you should get your flu shot as well.
And then just to clarify, I think you said it, but I just want to make sure, it is one of the required immunizations for schools.
Yes, yes. So there are usually 5 pertussis vaccines that children get at a young age, and then they get that Tdap booster during adolescence as well. And those are all required vaccines for the schools.
I was looking at the schedule. According to the press release, it says they get their booster at 4 to 6 years, and then they should get a single dose of the Tdap vaccine at 11 to 12. And then you had mentioned that there's that gap, which often makes the kids susceptible in that gap. From a policy perspective, should Kentucky consider adding another point in the immunization schedule where kids get vaccinated at 7 or 8 or something like that?
So typically we look to the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices. That's the CDC organization. They meet multiple times a year to really have these conversations about, should we change the vaccine schedule? Is there a more effective vaccine on the horizon that you won't see that immunity waning? And so I think the vast majority of the time we look to that organization to really provide us with that guidance. They're the same organization that recommended that homeless population now receive hepatitis A vaccines, and that was a new recommendation this year based on the hepatitis A outbreak. So they're definitely revisiting that frequently and looking to see if those guidelines and recommendations should be changed.
And they influence the Kentucky guidelines as well.
Correct. Our public health and healthcare providers typically follow those guidelines across the board. So.
I don't have any more. Anything else you want to add that you think we kind of missed out on?
The only other thing that I mentioned, like parents in the home, certainly other children in the home, grandparents who are around small children should be vaccinated. But the other group of individuals that should consider vaccination, especially if they haven't been, with the Tdap vaccine or that adult pertussis vaccine, is any child care providers, especially taking care of small children, and then teachers or staff in schools or child care agencies, because those individuals are potentially around kids who may have this, and they certainly risk either getting the disease themselves or spreading it if they get the disease to others. So if they haven't been vaccinated, that would be a group of individuals that might benefit as well.
Can infants die from this?
They can, yeah, unfortunately. And I feel like at least every couple years we certainly see cases of that locally and then, across the state. So it can be deadly, especially in young infants.
How are our ER rooms today?
That's a great question. I don't know for sure. Yeah.
I'm good.
Okay. Thank you all for your patience. I apologize for being late.